Genesis 24. Now Abraham was old, advanced in age, and Yahweh had blessed Abraham in every way. And Abraham said to his servant, the oldest of his household, who ruled over all that he owned, please, place your hand under my thigh, and I will make you swear by Yahweh, the God of heaven and God of earth, that you shall not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I live. But you will go to my land and to my kin, and take a wife for my son Isaac. And the servant said to him, suppose the woman is not willing to follow me to this land. Should I indeed take your son back to the land from where you came? Then Abraham said to him, beware lest you take my son back there. Yahweh, the God of heaven, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my kin, who spoke to me and who swore to me, saying, to your seed I will give this land, he will send his angel before you, and you will take a wife for my son from there. But if the woman is not willing to follow you, then you will be free from this oath of mine. Only do not take my son back there. So the servant placed his hand under the thigh of Abraham, his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. Then the servant took 10 camels from the camels of his master, and he went with all kinds of good things from his master's in his hand. So he rose and went to Mesopotamia, to the city of Nahor. And he made the camels kneel down outside the city by the well of water at evening time, the time when the women go out to draw water. And he said, O Yahweh, the God of my master Abraham, please cause this to happen before me today, and show loving kindness to my master Abraham. Behold, I am standing by the spring of water, and the daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw water. Now may it be that the young woman to whom I say, please let down your jar so that I may drink, and she says, drink, and I will give water to your camels to drink also. May she be the one whom you have decided for your servant Isaac, and by this I will know that you have shown loving kindness to my master. And before he had finished speaking, behold, Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor, was coming out with her jar on her shoulder. Now the young woman was very beautiful in appearance, a virgin, and no man had known her. And she went down to the spring and filled her jar and came up. Then the servant ran to meet her and said, please, give me a little water to drink from your jar. And she said, drink, my lord. And she quickly lowered her jar to her hand and gave him a drink. Now when she had finished giving him a drink, she said, I will draw also for your camels until they have finished drinking. So she hurried and emptied her jar into the watering channel and ran again to the well to draw. And she drew for all his camels. Meanwhile, the man was gazing at her in silence to know whether Yahweh had made his journey successful or not. Now it happened that when the camels had finished drinking, the man took a gold ring weighing a half shekel and 2 bracelets for her wrists weighing 10 shekels in gold, and said, whose daughter are you? Please tell me, is there a place for us to lodge in your father's house? And she said to him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor. And she said to him, we have plenty of both straw and feed, and a place to lodge in. Then the man bowed low and worshipped Yahweh. And he said, blessed be Yahweh, the God of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his loving kindness and his truth toward my master. As for me, Yahweh has guided me in the way to the house of my master's brothers. Then the young woman ran and told her mother's household about these things. Now Rebekah had a brother whose name was Laban, and Laban ran outside to the man at the spring. Now it happened, when he saw the ring and the bracelets on his sister's wrists, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, this is what the man said to me, he came out to the man, and behold, he was standing by the camels at the spring. And he said, come in, blessed of Yahweh. Why do you stand outside, since I have prepared the house and a place for the camels? So the man came into the house. Then Laban unloaded the camels, and he gave straw and feed to the camels, and water to wash his feet and the feet of the men who were with him. The food was set before him to eat, but he said, I will not eat until I have spoken my words. And he said, speak. And he said, I am Abraham's servant. And Yahweh has greatly blessed my master, so he has become great, and he has given him flocks and herds, and silver and gold, and male slaves and female slaves, and camels and donkeys. Now Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master in her old age, and he has given him all that he has. And my master made me swear, saying, You shall not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I live, but you shall go to my father's house and to my family, and take a wife for my son. Then I said to my master, Suppose this woman does not follow me. And he said to me, Yahweh, before whom I have walked, will send his angel with you, and will make your journey successful. And you will take a wife for my son, from my family, and from my father's house. Then you will be free from my oath when you come to my relatives. Now, if they do not give her to you, you will be free from my oath. So I came today to the spring and said, O Yahweh, the God of my master Abraham, if now you will make my journey on which I go successful, behold, I am standing by the spring of water, and may it be that the maiden who comes out to draw, to whom I say, Please let me drink a little water from your jar, and she will say to me, You drink, and I will draw for your camels also. She is the woman whom Yahweh has decided upon for my master's son. Before I had speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah was coming out with her jar on her shoulder, and she went down to the spring and drew. And I said to her, Please give me a drink. Then she hurried and lowered her jar from her shoulder and said, Drink, and I will also give water to your camels to drink. So I drank, and she also gave water to the camels to drink. Then I asked her and said, Whose daughter are you? And she said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him. And I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her wrists. Then I bowed low and worshipped Yahweh, and I blessed Yahweh, the God of my master Abraham, who had guided me in the true way to take the daughter of my master's relative for his son. So now, if you are going to show loving kindness and truth with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, that I may return to the right or to the left. Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, The matter comes from Yahweh, so we cannot speak to you bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be the wife of your master's son, as Yahweh has spoken. Now it happened that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he bowed himself to the ground before Yahweh. The servant brought out articles of silver and articles of gold and garments and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave precious things to her brother and to her mother. Then he and the men who were with him ate and drank and spent the night. And then they arose in the morning, and he said, Send me away to my master. But her brother and her mother said, Let the young woman stay with us a few days, or even 10. Afterward she will go. And he said to them, Do not delay me, since Yahweh has made my way successful. Send me away that I may go to my master. Then they said, We will call the young woman and ask about her wishes. Then they called Rebekah and said to her, Will you go with this man? And she said, I will go. Thus they sent away their sister Rebekah and her nurse with Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, May you, our sister, become thousands of 10,000s, and may your seed possess the gate of those who hate him. Then Rebekah rose with the young women. They mounted the camels and went after the man. So the servant took Rebekah and went. Now Isaac had come from going to Beer Lahai Roi, and he was living in the land of the Negev. And Isaac went out to muse in the field toward evening, and he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes and saw Isaac, and dismounted from the camel. Then she said to the servant, Who is that man walking in the field to meet us? And the servant said, He is my master. Then she took her veil and covered herself. And the servant recounted to Isaac all the things that he had done. Then Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and he took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her. Thus Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. It's interesting that Abraham sent his servant to look for a wife for his son Isaac. Isaac has been quite a passive character up to this point. He kind of went along with his father to the mountain where he would just lay there and be sacrificed. And now he won't even make it to his own betrothal scene. Perhaps we can contrast that with Rebekah. She offered to serve the 10 camels. In verse 19, she says, I will draw also for your camels until they have finished drinking. That sounds like a lot of work. I can only imagine how many times she had to blaze back and forth, fetching water for the camels. Verse 20, she hurried and emptied her jar into the watering channel and ran again to the well to draw, and she drew for all his camels. It must have been a strange scene, with a man just watching her in verse 21, and these 10 camels just waiting for water from this woman. It'll be interesting to see how these two characters play out. A passive Isaac in the background of everything, and an active Rebecca, always busy. These are my thoughts. Hope to hear from you as well.